hey, we kind of told you guys about this off and on for the past couple of weeks, which was, hey, WWE, they're doing this thing with Kofi Kingston. They know that there are people that love them some Kofi Kingston. They want to see Kofi Kingston at WrestleMania and everything. And the swerve that they're basically doing, they've been doing with Kofi Kingston, it's been nothing more than a ploy. It's been nothing more than stringing people along, have them feeling as though, our thoughts, our prayers, it's not being answered. Our feedback that we're giving to the WWE, it's not being heard. It's not being taken at face value. WWE is just... Can I tell you guys something? You can't make this shit up. And I'm not going to put the person's name out there. I do appreciate any and all feedback, comments that we get from you guys. But for some of you all, I can't help but wonder... Y'all do realize that the stuff that you're watching at the end of the day is for pure entertainment value. You all do realize that what you are watching is scripted, do you not? And I say that not as a dick in any type of way. I say that not to be a douchebag in any type of way. I'm legitimately asking you all a question. And the reason why I put that question out there is because I saw one of the most interesting comments that came my way via social media that I wanted to share with you guys. You can't make this shit up. Now, if you're following me on the social media outlets, you'd have seen the screenshot that I had took and shared this with you all. But if you missed it, it's okay. All right. It reads as follows, and I did not approve this. Maybe I should just go on ahead and approve it. But the reason why I have not approved it is because I don't want people piling on to this individual, right? Because I know how some people can get, and I don't want them to feel as though they're being picked on or whatever. But I received this one comment, and those of you that saw it on social media, you can verify, you can vouch for this. And I quote, "Hello, RCWR show. Just want to let you know WWE sucks because Vince McMahon is racist to Kofi. And I'm not going to lie, I feel really sad for Kofi. He's been wrestling for 11 years and he has never been on the WWE Championship." I think he was trying to say he's never been a WWE champion, or maybe he was trying to say he's never had a WWE championship at WrestleMania, but I'm trying to help him out here, but whatever. He goes on to say, "And more so, Batista is telling the truth. Triple H is asshole. I will not be watching WWE ever again." I wish I was trolling you guys, but that is the type of comments that I've seen. It's one thing when you see comments like that with your own two eyes throughout social media, but to be in the position that I'm in, where I'm interacting with you guys every single week, I'm taking your feedback, I'm following up on what you're saying, acknowledging you guys on the show, reading your thoughts, your questions, your comments. It's a totally different beast when I read reactions like this that's coming from you, the listeners, and I'm just amazed that for some people, look, it's one thing if you say, "Hey man, these past couple of months that I've been checking out the WWE product, it's just been weak sauce. My interest, it just continues to become less and less to the point I'm not interested in the product anymore. I'm tapping out. I got to move on to something else. I just got to." It's one thing if you're at that point. Okay, you know what? You wouldn't be the first. You wouldn't be the last that would feel the way that you felt. And we can all be in agreement while we're on the subject of, hey man, I'm tapping out. Raw for this week. Boy, was that weak sauce. That was weak sauce. We're kind of going back and forth. I was going to talk a little bit about Raw, but I mean, there's really not that much you can sink your teeth into with this week's Raw. It was weak sauce to the extreme. So many people, and I was, whether interacting with people on Twitter or interacting with people in Discord, and it was just amazing how many people were just, when I combined just both mediums of social media platforms, how many people were taking massive shits on Raw for this week. And the viewership numbers and all that came out. Raw had dipped 4%. for this past Monday, making it the 5th episode this year so far and having the lowest viewership. I mean, hey, the year is still pretty early, right? I say let's just see what happens once we get to June, July, August. Then we'll have somewhat of a better gauge, but that's not really good news to be hearing kicking off the new year still within the first quarter, right? I mean, that's not really too good to hear. But I get people that are tapping out on the product. I get that. But to go in the direction of Vince McMahon is racist to Kofi Kingston and, oh man, they got you. WWE is doing their job. They want you to feel that way. And seeing Big E put out that video and, touching all those right buttons and everything, drawing up the revolution shall not be televised, right? Or, oh, the man is always holding a brother down, pulling that card and everything. Isn't that funny? It's almost night and day. You get this narrative that Big E spins on social media just to tie you over for the weekend until Tuesday SmackDown comes around. And you're looking at this and you're going, oh, wow. So is this a taste of what's to come when we get ready to check out SmackDown for this coming Tuesday? No, on the contrary, night and day, night and day. And it was a great swerve, got to tell you. But the fact that people are falling, like how this guy that left the comment fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. I mean, I can't tell you whether see, here's the thing too. Guys like the person that left that comment for me, at the end of the day, they are a wrestling fan. And believe it or not, in 2019, you still have people that don't know anything about the dirt sheets, right? They don't really pay attention to the websites, read up on that stuff. They don't do that. You actually have some people that will legitimately, wow, this crap that's going on, what the hell? And you know what? That can be an honest case of just being a little naive. And that's not an insult. That's not a put down in any type of way. There's nothing wrong with being a little naive. But the people that cannot be given a pass, the people that are bloggers, vloggers, podcasters, journalists, the websites, the wrestling websites that take this whole, oh man, what Vince McMahon is doing to Kofi Kingston is downright discriminating, and writing up little essays and all that about why Kofi should get his chance at WrestleMania. Remember, a wrestling journalist typing this up. I can't tell you how many of this type of stuff I've seen over the past couple of weeks. These are the guys, wait a minute now, in some cases you guys are being paid money for covering these promotions. You guys are being paid to write up this stuff. You guys are being paid to do your podcasts or whatever, right? You're supposed to be a experienced, seasoned veteran in your field. You are supposed to be able to draw that fine line and, oh yes, what's happening with this story arc right now, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I think many fans will be able to get behind this, blah, blah, blah. You're not supposed to fall into the trap as well. That's just gullible. And that's not using common sense at the end of the day. Like I said, for fans to react the way this guy did, there's really nothing wrong with that. But to see, and I'm sure you all would be in agreement, whether you've been in a Reddit forum or wherever, I'm sure you all would agree. You've seen that repeatedly, and you could smell this storyline a mile away, that everything was going to come full circle to Kofi Kingston taking on Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. I looked at what they have been doing with Kofi Kingston these past couple of weeks. Nothing more than you being a passenger, hopping in a taxi cab and saying, driver, I need to go to blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, all right, I can get you over there in 10 minutes. I know the shortcuts, no problem. We'll be able to dodge traffic and everything. But in the case of what WWE did, rather than just, boom, you're there, WWE just basically, they took this long route, what should have been a 10-minute ride. They went on ahead and they hopped on the freeway and went through some back roads and all that shit, and it turned into an hour drive. All right. That's basically what WWE did with this Kofi Kingston story arc. Right. So they milked it for all it was worth. And hey, was there some flaws here and there? Yes, there was. Definitely some flaws here and there. I still passionately feel where I was from last week with the suggestions that I had made as far as them incorporating Booker T and Mark Henry. I really wish they would have gone in those respected directions, but WWE, they did not go there, and you can't help but wonder if ultimately one of the reasons why they decided to not go there was because they cared more about making sure that their current advertisers and sponsors are very happy, right? Even if you were to go that path of, as I mentioned on last week's show, hey, race relations, all-time high and everything, why not take something that's happening in our society and apply it as a story arc, as WWE notoriously used to do this type of stuff in the past, one of the greatest things being the Muhammad Hassan character. But they're very touch and go. You notice when it comes to the shows, they're being very happy is the right word I want to use. But you notice how when it comes to the social media platforms and everything, and it's interesting. It's interesting when it's all said and done, because when you look at what's happening with the social media platforms, I don't mind it to a certain degree. I don't. But at the same time, kind of wish sometimes we would ease up a little bit on continuing story arcs on social media. If you are a young person and you are just hardcore 24/7, you're following X amount of pro wrestlers, seeing what they're posting on Instagram and all that other stuff, then little stuff like that, you'll enjoy that. It'll keep you tied over for the weekend, give you a little something to talk about with your buddies and everything. But where I kind of draw the line is the fact that there's inconsistency. Inconsistency from the standpoint of what is being said on social media 90% of the time does not transfer over to the TV shows. And that's where I have a bit of an issue. Perfect example. You see the stuff that Big E was saying. Great shit. Don't get me wrong. Great shit. And I will admit, I bit into that a little bit. I'm going, wow, okay, let me find out they're gonna go there. It's about race. Okay, we're gonna go there. And the fact that they have not gone there for this Kofi Kingston story arc, I find it to be very peculiar. Right down to the point you see tonight, Xavier, Big E, going back and forth, talking about their man, their brother-in-arms, Kofi Kingston. Always being the professional, yada, 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 yada. Hey, I am all down for being a professional and everything, but you know what? When you've been screwed that many times by your employer, furthermore, you're led to the impression that, hey, we are an equal opportunities provider, right, in the WWE. When is enough and you put your foot down and you demand from your boss, okay, what's the 411 here? What is really going on? What have I done to piss you off so badly that you are treating me this way? Because this does not make any sense. Veteran employee and me working for you all these years, and you're doing me like this. Gotta tell you, dude, you're really doing a great job in making me feel unappreciated and valued. You know, what's really going on here? And for me, if there was one constructive criticism I could say I've had over this whole Kofi Kingston, Vince McMahon, Daniel Bryan path to the WrestleMania match, it's that we never did get to see that Kofi Kingston that has serious conflict in his heart. We never did see that fiery... You understand what I'm saying? I mean, apply what has been going on with this story arc in the real world. Without a shadow of doubt, you would at some point pull your boss to the side, your supervisor to the side, and lay into them and find out what the hell's going on. And I'm not saying you would curse them out or anything like that. What I'm saying is you would be behind closed doors trying to get down to the heart of the matter. And the fact that we never did see that moment where Kofi's buttons were pushed and instead his boys are doing all of the talking for him, that just rubs me the wrong way. Now, I'm not putting this match down. I'm still very excited for the match that's going to be happening with Kofi, Daniel Bryan. I feel they're going to freaking tear it up. Without a shadow of doubt, they're going to freaking tear it up. Now, will freaking Kofi Kingston win the title at WrestleMania? You would think that with the way that this current story arc is set up, to not have Kofi win the title at WrestleMania, that is a perfect case of, well, if you aren't going to pull the trigger here, if there was ever a moment in Kofi Kingston's illustrious, it's been illustrious these past several years, but other than that, let's be honest, he's had some, oh wow, that was a great match from time to time, right? But let's just call it for what it is. In all the years that Kofi Kingston has been in the WWE, if there was ever a moment where strike while the iron is hot, he's got the fans in the palm of his hands right now. He's got the WWE Universe right there. They're with him. If there is ever a time to ride somebody, ride them out going into Mania season and possibly putting the title on them, what has been aligned naturally, just organically for Kofi Kingston? It doesn't get better than what you all are witnessing right now. And if WWE upper management, the powers that be, do not strike on this while it's hot, this will be one of the biggest flops. This will be one of the biggest mishaps. Call it for what it is. This is going to be one of the biggest, God, you fucked up, of all time for WWE. It's going to be right up there. I don't believe Kofi is going to lose at WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan has been doing a really great job as the Planet's champion, as a heel champion and all that. His run has been really, really good. He's been cranking it up these past couple of months. I've been liking it. Do I want for his journey to stop? No, I don't. But when I look at all of the opponents that he's been through so far, there's not really that much more you can do with Daniel Bryan at this juncture. If you really just look at what all has transpired on his path to being the WWE champion, to who all he's been facing since he's been the WWE champion, to where we are right now, there's really not much more, sadly, you can do with Daniel Bryan. Unless you're going to have him recycle through those same opponents all over again. Or is it a case where maybe you inject somebody new? I mean, I would love to be on this show and say, well, maybe you could inject a Aleister Black. But the way things are looking right now, tag titles are in the future for Aleister Black, Ricochet. So, you know, I look at that. Looking at the rest of the roster, there's really nobody. I mean, what? Maybe Sami Zayn? What? Is Sami Zayn maybe going to come back? And you understand what I'm saying? And that's kind of highly unlikely. So I have to look at where everything is going right now. And for me, all signs are indicating that we're most likely going to be seeing a new WWE champion in Kofi Kingston at WrestleMania. And you know what? I wouldn't have any problem with that. Like I said a few minutes ago, you want to go on ahead, you want to strike while the iron is hot. And there's nothing wrong with that. And, I mean, come on, how great of a moment would that be to have Kofi Kingston win the title, brothers in the New Day come out, hell, maybe even the entire roster come out because they recognize such a symbolic moment that's happening right there at that time and everything. It would be great. And then not to mention, I'm now looking at things from just a marketing standpoint. You know that most likely there's going to be a WWE 24/7 or a WrestleMania special off of Kofi Kingston. You know, most likely with regards to the history of that title, the fact that other than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, that Kofi Kingston would be officially the second person in the company's history to be a champion a WWE champ. I mean, there's just so much that's there that you have to go back and you got to turn some of this stuff into a network special and capitalize and everything. There's a lot of great marketing opportunities that you can do with that. Not to mention, you could also plant some seeds for further down the road on his brothers in arms in the New Day eventually turning their back on him. I still feel in my heart of hearts that, and it was very apparent tonight, 5 years those guys have been together as the New Day. Yeah, you don't want to break them up because they're still bringing in some really good revenue and everything, but I've always had the philosophy of, hey, I look at a guy like, it's a case-by-case basis, but when I look at Big E, I still smell $1 million on that guy. I still smell a good singles run with him. And I would love to see something come about in the very near future. As far as somebody that's going to turn their back on the New Day, I would love to see something come about where maybe Big E is the one that stabs his brothers in the back because he feels he's been carrying their load for way too long or whatever, right? But different topic for another day.